Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to another mixed media tutorial with me, Lisa Taggart. This one I'm calling Sanctuary, and we're having a go this week at a misty scene. It's a bit of a secret garden where the unicorn can graze happily. I've used pan pastels, some watercolours, all sorts of things. So let's have a more detailed look at the materials. Starting with the hot press watercolour card, we're also using the Kuretake watercolours. I'm using lemon yellow, malachite, that's pale ultramarine, sap green, and that's rose beige. But just use whatever colours you fancy, whatever watercolours you have to hand. We're also using Nocturne and Fallen Leaves in the VersaFine Clair permanent ink. Pan pastels, we've got Chrome Oxide Green and Hansa Yellow. We've also a couple of violets, pearlescent and the normal one. We've got blues in Ultramarine Blue. We've also got Ultramarine Extra Dark, and this one's Ultramarine Tint. You can get all of these blues by adding black or white to normal ultramarine. Also we got turquoise and phthalo green tint, and we've got phthalo green. So lovely colours all together, but again use what you have. We've got some applicators for the pastels, and we've got some fixative for them as well. We've got a large brush for the watercolours, again any brush will do. We've got some gel pens in yellow, blue, white and purple, and some sparkle pens in orange and red. We've got a couple of Poscas in blue and green. Also we've got a fine line marker in black. We've got a sepia coloured pastel pencil and a black Stabilo All pencil. We've got the watercolour markers, these are the Zig Clean Colour, and we've got some neutrals there, the greys, the beige and a sort of yellowy colour. We've also got purple, pink and red, and that's for the colouring of the toadstools. Moving on now to the stamp, we're starting with Forest Scene. We've got the Secret Garden, Small Pixie Houses, Bluebells, Unicorn 2, Forest Cap and Forest Inn. Nice collection today. So if you want to convert all of that into something that looks a little bit like this, just keep on watching. So I've taken my little watercolours out and popped them into this handy little tray, and the idea here is to place down a basic first couple of layers, something for the pan pastels to attach to later on. So I've got sky colour to begin with, the top third, and I'm going to try to keep that fairly light in the centre, mixing that with that malachite colour and a peachy colour later on, and really a variety of pale green, mid-tone green and dark green by mixing whatever I have in the palette. Not too fussy about it, just laying down some colour, drying between the layers, and it gives us something to work on and something to build up when we come to the next layer of the pan pastels. Don't forget that if you don't see it on camera, I do dry between layers when I'm painting and also stamping. And you can see me here just taking a kitchen towel and removing some of the paint just to keep the centre fairly light, to give the impression of the light shining through the forest and the door that we're going to add later on. Now for the stamping, and I'm taking my torn copy paper and I want to add like curtains at the side, some trees either side of the door. I don't want them to be too bold, so I've stamped off first of all to see what I get. And the beauty of this stamp is that, of course, it's lovely stamped in full, which I often do. But for this project, I've chosen to use it in another way, which is to over stamp. It's a great stamp for that, where you can build up a tree scene, and it does allow you to create the impression of a forest by overlapping it several times, and depending on how much ink you put on, you can vary the opacity of it. You can have pale branches and then darker branches as you move more to the foreground. So I'm being careful to cover up parts with the copy paper. I want the right hand side to slope down, and then the left hand side just to be a group of trees. So just keep building it up until I'm happy, and then any bits that need brought out, I'll be using a pastel pencil later on. Now that the fixative is dry, I have stamped my unicorn with Nocturne just very lightly and haven't covered the whole stamp, and I've done that deliberately because I don't want a solid image to come out, because the idea is that the unicorn will be in the distance and partly in the mist, and that's the reason I've done that. Well, there we are. That's the project complete and mounted onto cream and black card. As you can see, I've used my sparkle pens to add little orange centres to the daisies and some dots here and there of red just to complement the toadstools. Also used a black fine liner to add back the detail in the door, just very faintly. It's still in the mist, and lots of dots and dashes and blues and yellows, particularly towards the top of where the trees are. So if you enjoyed today's project, or if you've learned something today, I'd really appreciate it if you'd consider subscribing, hitting the thumbs up, sharing the video, leave me a comment. I really appreciate that. This piece is for sale and my shop links are below, including my Amazon storefronts where many of the art supplies that I use are curated there. So until next time, take very good care of yourselves, and above all, get creating, be brave, and do enjoy the adventure.